This is Lucas Ryder, executive producer and the writer of episode 812, Rakitin. You're listening to the Blacklist Exposed on Golden Spiral Media.
Oh, honey, I knew you would come around to being part of the show again, Aaron. Welcome to the award-winning The Blacklist Exposed podcast. Greetings, one and all. I'm Agent Troy Heinrichs.
And I'm Special Agent Aaron, and welcome back to the real Red Reddington, the one that I missed, the one who bitch slaps people on an airplane bitch slaps an old man. That's what we've got. I missed it so much. And thanks for joining us yet again for number 28 on the Blacklist, Rakitin, written by Lucas Rader and directed by Mahesh Pailor. Show notes and other intel for this episode of The Blacklist Exposed can be found at blacklistexposed.com. And before I move on, I want to say thank you to Special Agent Rory for filling in last week. He did a great job. In fact, I was just going to let you have it and not come back. And then Troy said that he had pictures and some dirt that he hired this dude to dig up on me. And it turns out there's a lot. So I came back.
Although Rakitan's dead now, so I don't know if I can use those pictures anymore. That's
sure
the
can.
Part.
Sure can. Have at it.
They might have died.
I encourage it.
In his pocket. How do we get it out of the post office? Is there a bird that can fly in and just snatch the thumb drive?
Oh man, like ravens? Like Game of Thrones? That would be great if they had Blacklist threw in some ravens.
Why not? I mean, we had the birds in the insane asylum that Red went to go visit. I'm sure they could be trained somehow.
True. And you know what? Maybe we should all stop judging Liz so much, because I got to tell you, everybody's dirty in the post office, apparently. Everybody.
Officially, we are now clean sweep.
Yep.
Except for maybe Panda Baker. Maybe Panda Baker's still okay. But since she's like the head of stuff, she's already been shady because she's the head of stuff.
Like Cooper's made a few dicey calls, and we know Rustler has killed somebody. And, you know, well, has Mark done anything? Or Ram done anything?
Ram
really?
shot the dude with a rail gun.
Yeah. I think you're all on the prison list at this point. You guys should all call Michael Schofield, because at some point you're going to need him. Very
true. Very true. Well, if you're new to the show, we go over our profiling question from last week and close up shop for that. And then we move into our case profile for Rakitin. And then we will close out the show with some special agent intel at the end of the episode. But first, was there anyone else on that kill list? From our friend from the East, Aaron? What did the fans think?
75% say yes, there are more names. 15% said nope, just instructions for Cooper's demise.
75% of you would be correct, since the senator or congressman was part of the plan to get Cooper. So technically, he was also murdered. You know.
Yeah, and that's 90. So is this like American math? We just leave out the other 10%? Was that just various things?
Or maybe I just can't type. So
25%.
So 25% said nope.
Okay, that makes more sense.
To make it 100.
I like that. All right, well, our question for next week, this is pretty simple. Is Red actually N13?
Which Roy and I discussed a little bit about and talked about last week. So what are your thoughts? We'd love to hear them. But before Red slaps us across the face, we should get to this week's case profile.
Slapped him like a bitch. Red is sent overseas to deal with Sikorsky, but it's just a ruse so that Rakitin can get to Harold, torture him, kill him, make it look like a suicide right after the congressman died in his sleep. Wink, wink. Here's what I want to say about this, okay? So this part cracked me up because for the last week, whenever that commercial came out, right, for NBC that showed Harold Cooper getting trapped and everything else, and is he going to die? And people have been saying that all week long. Is Harold going to die? Is Harold going to... No. No. I didn't think for even a nanosecond that he was going to die. And I loved that fact that it was in the first 5 minutes that he gets captured, and he's safe in 10 minutes. It was the craziest thing. Like everything in that commercial happened in the first 10 minutes. What'd you think about that?
I thought it was brilliant. I mean, this is the one time we'll actually say NBC marketing, well done.
Yeah.
Because you literally just said, here's the cold open. We're just going to give it to you in trailer form.
Well, Red tells Sikorsky to call it off. He refuses. So Red calls Rakitin first to threaten him. That didn't work. So then to have the post office track him. That leads to Rakitin's capture and a problem. You see, Rakitin knows too much. He's got at least, 12 things, I think, going on at any given moment.
Something like that.
For this big new cabal, old cabal?
Well, for the
original?
It's for the SVR specifically.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, comrade. Yes. It's a Russian space station. Therefore, Red needs to get to him. So to do so, he reaches out to an old expert in poisons to craft a weapon that Red tricks Park into delivering, which kills Rakitin.
Brilliant.
Now, hang on.
Brilliant concept.
Hang on. I want to get there. In the end, Rakitin is dead. Cooper's still coming after Red. Park essentially murders a man. Red threatens Sikorsky with his full force of will. Because for Red, it's all about the end game. This is the beginning of the end. Okay, that's the summation of this episode. That's the crux. What did you think of this episode? Because I'll tell you my thoughts after you.
I will get to that in 1 second because I do want to correct one thing, because Park doesn't essentially murder a man. None of it's her fault. Everything that happened, it was all on Red. Red claimed.
Not according to the state of everybody, because the law says the fact that she handed it to him, she knew that there was something nefarious involved. She was complicit, so she did. She was an
accomplice to murder, but not actually murder.
She actually did murder him. She's the reason he's dead. If she doesn't walk into that room, he don't die. She killed him.
Well, technically, wouldn't Poison Man be the murderer because it was his poison that killed him?
Technically, if you want to go legally, all of them would be guilty of murder. All of them.
And I love how Red just comes in there and he's like, did something happen? Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
And then he just leaves. like they can't arrest him for it either.
Or as Gus would say on Psych, oh my God.
Yeah.
So what did you think of this episode?
No, I thought this was a really great episode, coming off of maybe a setup episode last week, and then maybe some things that were kind of, they were okay, reminiscent of season 1, so it felt like a little repetitive at times. This, I felt like, put the entire show into, fifth gear. It was a explosive from the get out. It was interesting and intriguing. Aaron says probably a little predictive. I enjoyed it all the way through. I didn't find anything really predictive about it. I mean, other than we knew Cooper wasn't going to die. I mean, that was pretty straightforward because we talked to Harold Cooper on this podcast. But he said we're going to see a lot of Cooper this season. So
yeah.
But overall, I thought it was great. I thought this was super intense. I thought, Red being all angry and just mean spirited Red and smacking him across the face and telling him like I own you. You understand? And he's all like like a little dog. He was just like, ow, I'm sorry. And then he's able to.
I pulled out my big guns. I'm sorry about that. Stop hitting me.
But it's interesting. I want to know more about their relationship. That's the biggest thing I took away from this episode. When did they get together to be partners in whatever this end game is? That's interesting to me. I want to know what that history
30
is.
30 years ago. Yeah. Be my guess.
So we need that non-numbered Blacklist flashback. How did our Eastern friend and Red become friends?
Well, here's what I thought. So I called. You can verify this with my wife if you'd like to get her on the show. You can ask her. I called every single beat, including the letter that happened long before it happened. Okay. Every single one.
Okay, time out.
Hang on.
There's no way you called the letter.
Ask her.
If you're saying that I can't call the pregnancy pills for that one episode, there's no way you could call that letter.
No, because that was the biggest leap ever. Ask my wife. As soon as he said, I need you to give him this envelope, so I said, there's a letter inside poisoned. That's exactly what I told my wife. You can ask her. She doesn't lie. Ask her. I would lie. She would never lie. But
this was before Red gave the envelope to Park?
No, as soon as I saw an envelope, I mean, I had to see the envelope. I knew that he was going to kill him in some way. I just didn't know how he was going to do it. As soon as he said the envelope, I'm like, oh, well, the letter inside is poison. That's why he keeps telling her not to open it. It's important you don't open it. Yeah. That seemed like a common leap. So let me finish, damn it. So I called every single, what happened to Cooper, saving him in the last minute, Red doing the thing to track him. Everything in here I called. There's not other than Red slapping that guy at the end and basically asserting his authority, called everything in the episode. This is why I say it doesn't matter if it's predictable, if it's entertaining. I didn't care how predictable it was. It was entertaining from start to finish. It was probably one of my favorite episodes of the season so far, just because it was riveting. I thought, like, this is Blacklist. You've got Red Reddington actually being a badass. You know, it reasserted the fact that he's not a great guy. I'm tired of people telling me that he's a hero just because you like him. You can like the villain. He's still a villain. He kills people. He just does. And he basically put Park in a position where she murdered a man. Now, yes, she was okay with him killing the guy that she hated because she thought that guy killed her friend. This is a different guy, so it's a different murder. It's not the same thing. You don't get to compare. You don't get to say it's the same like he does to her. Oh, it's no different than one did it. No, it is different. You basically set her up to be a murderer. So I like that they bring back to the forefront that he does awful things. And he's selfish as hell. He's going to do anything he can to protect his own self-interest. And I like that because I'm tired of people telling me it's not true. I don't know how people lose that throughout the show, but it's. I feel like sometimes it's lost in that respect. So I love this episode, even though there wasn't a beat that caught me off guard, or maybe except for that slap. The slap was like, oh, he's slapping people now. All right, I like this. This is Red Reddington. I like.
Put you in your place.
Yeah. You didn't call that letter? I figured that would have been like a standout, easy call.
Well, I was thinking it was like, it's just a letter. And there was like,
or did you think it was going to be like a breakout?
It was like instructions for how to break out or something, because he needed him alive because he didn't want him dead because he was so important to the cause that I thought there's no way that he's going to kill him. But
oh, no.
Turned out
every time they started talking about how are we going to get him out, we can't get him out. It's impossible. I'm like, oh, he's going to kill him. That's what he's going to do. He's just going to kill him.
I like the guy.
Too much TV.
I thought the actor was good too. I'm going to miss him.
You know what was funny is I didn't really like him until this episode. I thought he was just okay. I don't know if it's because he had more to do here, a little bit more heft to his role, but that was really solid. Yeah.
Yeah. Because before it was like a, sitting in a car with Red, just kind of like, passing information. And then he's all like, the FBI's on me. But this one, he actually, we saw his full range. Even the phone call with Reddington, I thought was really good.
Well, yeah, it was. I mean, all around, this was a really good, really well done episode. Cooper was great. I really love what Lennox did here. And I loved how Cooper didn't back down. He kept coming like, no, I'm not backing down off this. You're not going to fool me again. I'm not doing this. Dance with you again. I really love that. Even though Red does save him and Red likes to throw that out there. And, Cooper in his own mind, he's like, yeah, but I wouldn't be in this position if it wasn't for you. So, did you really do me a favor or did you do yourself a favor? Because if I'm gone, your deal's going to be a bigger problem. So is it a self-interest or is it a caring for Harold? I'm sure it's a mix of the two.
It's probably a mix of the two. And I really like the carbon monoxide concept. Use the oxygen mask and tie it to the engine.
Yeah, that was cool. That was new.
Cool.
Yeah.
Never seen something like that before. When he was like, oh yeah, we're just going to fake you dying in the garage. I'm like, oh, that's simple. But it's like, oh no, we're going to kill you with carbon monoxide first and then put you in the garage. Oh, that's different. Like, Lucas, you are a sick man. Sick man.
So all that to say, like, I thought that was important to say because I know people will say it was predictable and da-da-da-da. You know what? There's not many things that have been done in film and television that haven't been done before. And if you watch enough of it, you can predict a lot of it. It's a matter of how entertaining is it when it ties all together. And this was entertaining as hell. And they didn't make the thing that I've been complaining about for many episodes now is they didn't make Liz at the forefront. It was more of a backdrop of the episode. So it wasn't a forefront issue where you got her. Everybody's basically running around talking about what Liz is doing, but nobody sees Liz and it's just not working because she was an established character for so long. Now this worked because she's very much in the backdrop.
Do you think she was there at the end or was it Essie Jackson or Skip?
No, I think that was her, but I mean, it's just in the shadows. It was meant to convey that was Liz for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I think this season has been more straightforward than any other season, honestly.
Well, I think they have to be because, coming into the season, they didn't know they were getting season 9. So there was a certain trajectory of these first couple episodes that had already been kind of started in a path. You break the season and then have your story beats that you're going to hit for those, tentpole milestone markers. What'll be interesting now is to see how that diverges and changes as the season progresses because they now know that they have season 9 up and running.
It will be interesting.
Like we said,
are you getting characters?
Just answer the question and then make it have new story from the answer. That's all you got to do.
I mean, we say that every week. So
since season 5.
Are you ready to get into character? Yeah. And I listened to you guys last week and I should have The mystery should have been revealed in season 6, I think you said.
Yeah, 6, yeah.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly.
All right, well, let's get into characters with music first. And I think the only one we had this week was at the end of the episode when Wrestler gets stood up by Liz at the park. We hear the song Ritual by Other Lives from the Rituals album. You can listen to that and all the other great music of the Blacklist on the playlists, both for Apple and Spotify. You can find links for both of those on the website at theblacklistexposed.com.
All right, moving on to characters. Now, here's one thing I want to say. Here's what Dembe offered this week. Once again, shining an example of offering advice that Red completely ignores, that he should be taking. I feel like every episode, Dembe's telling him something he should do and he doesn't do and he should have done it. Do you agree?
It kind of feels like the Red and Liz relationship in a way.
I think Dembe is a little bit more soulful, a little bit more wise. He's got many, many years of being in this game to help him make those decisions. And it just feels like he keeps telling him, listen to the man. Listen to him. Because he told you that this was a ruse. You don't have to go all the way over there for something you can have on a phone call. And Red's like, well, he just wants me to reassure him. No, he didn't. Listen to Dembe. And this would be half the season. Much shorter season.
Now, you work in corporate. I work in corporate. There's always been those times where someone else gets promoted and you don't get promoted. Like, why isn't Dembe getting the stuff? Why is it all being left to Liz? Like, this man understands the operation. He knows what's going down. He's all like, Red, this has been a ruse. Cooper's in trouble. We got to go help him. Like, yeah,
we got to wait for that. Well, we'll find out, man. That will come with the answer, right?
We'll
find out why
so.
Liz is getting everything.
Yeah. But Dembe should get a cut. I'm just saying. Dembe should get a cut.
Yeah, he should get that damn island.
For sure.
Right?
Something.
Yeah. Jeez.
For loyalty. Here's the loyalty payment.
And honestly, at this point, he should be allowed to slap Red twice.
Yeah.
Straight across the face.
Like, hey, did you take your pills this morning? There's one. By the way, you made a dumb decision. There's two.
I'm on this stupid airplane again for 12 hours because you won't listen. Whack. Maybe throw in the little Batman. Thwack.
Could you at least give me a big screen TV if I got to sit here for 12 hours? I got to watch the Pittsburgh Steelers.
So Aram does a little bit of tech work this week, but nothing that really moves the plot. Other than he does wonder if Keen could ever come back from what she's done.
No.
Yeah, I would say no. But then again, Park's killing people. I don't know. Apparently, we're wide open on possibility.
But no one knows Park killed the person.
They will. It'll come out.
They know Liz has broken out of the post office twice now. Once as herself and once as a Cyranoid or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah.
And technically three times because you broke out after Tom Connolly got shot too.
Where are you with her coming back? Because, I mean, there was definitely some pieces being painted with Wrestler talking about it and Aram talking about it. I mean, I think they're asking the question, can she come back to the post office? Can she be an agent again? What do you think?
An agent again? No, I don't think so.
An immunity deal?
Immunity deal, maybe. Like, hey, tell us what you know about Townsend. We can then use Townsend to flush out N13. There could be some story there. So I hope that's not the case because that's the predictable path, but we'll see what happens.
Well, I mean, predictable can still be entertaining. How many times did Jack Bauer get an immunity deal? And I was like, I'm good with it.
Very true. Very true.
I'm good with it. And also everything he did, probably against the law. Still, I'm okay with it.
Especially the lamp electric cord to the nipples. That's definitely against the law.
Well, shooting the guy's wife, that was definitely against the law to get him to talk. I'm pretty sure that's illegal. Maybe it's a new interrogation method I wasn't aware of, but I'm pretty sure it's illegal. So Wrestler reaches out to Skip. Apparently he had an emergency number to reach Keen on. I don't remember that, but
I think this is
maybe
new.
they said that in the show. Okay.
Yeah, this was something that she had set up, and this is the first time we're learning about it.
Gotcha. He tells her there might be a path back and to meet him. I think it was Lincoln Park. He's there, but she doesn't show. That's really what Wrestler does. He's basically just leaving Keen messages, telling her, "Hey, what's up? Miss your eyes. How you doing? I think you might be all right. Maybe you'll come back. Maybe not an agent, but you can be a person again. Da 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 da. Meet me at the park. We'll talk about it."
You can have a life with Agnes, and I was like, dum. She's already got Agnes.
Yeah, it's like I think he meant as a free person.
As a free person.
So what'd you think about the whole reaching out to Skip and leaving the voicemails and Liz still not being there and people in our group and everywhere else just won't shut up about Liz not being there.
I know. It apparently affects the ratings. It apparently affects the enjoyment of the show. I mean, it's just like at this point, I've gotten to the point where like the two things that I can't stand reading about anymore is why is Liz not on the show and what's happening with Aaron Rodgers' contract for the Green Bay Packers. Like those two news stories just grate me for some reason. I don't know why, but I like the skip play. I think it's interesting.
Agreed. By the way, I'm just agreeing with you.
Oh, okay.
Agreed. Although I will say, I just saw Olivia Munn, his ex's new movie. Fantastic.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Violet. I saw it at South by. Fantastic.
Okay. I'll check that one out. But in terms of wrestler and skip, I like this concept. I think it's a smart play by Liz to say, let me figure out if wrestler's, being truthful, if he's playing me, could this number be given to Cooper at some point in time in the future? So I like the concept and the tactics being used. If she was actually there in the car at the end, as we're led to assume that she was, I don't like that. Like I'd rather it be someone else just validating, did he actually show up? And then they can report back to Liz and say, hey, he did show up. So maybe next time he calls, you should take his call.
Yeah, I like that. And I'm kind of curious. I think they're definitely setting the placement for her to come back at some point.
Plus the Keenlers are dying. They're like, you give us that one episode and now now she's gone.
Now he's just sitting sad in the park, just kissing his hand, doing that thing he did in high school where you're like, how do you kiss again? It's just unfortunately creepy. All right, Park. Well, we called this one. Yeah. we called this as soon as that episode happened that, he's definitely, that guy's probably not going to get killed. And he's going to use that video. Why? I remember we had a big discussion
about
it. Why on earth would you let him take that video? That's the dumbest thing you could have done. And of course, it comes back and bites her in the ass. And he never killed that idiot. He's just got him under suppression and living large. And I'll tell you what, this is what the first thought that I had when he tells her to go and see him and how he's going to bring him back to testify against her and everything else. If I was her, I would have said, do it. It's been too long. He's healed up. I don't see any damage on him. Yeah, you got that video. Okay, I'll take my chances. I lost my cool, whatever. There's no way I would do anything. I would not be in his pocket. I just wouldn't. Because number one, he lied to her. Number two, he tricked her. I just would not do anything else to help him. That is on her for being dumb. What you say?
And my big thing with this whole sequence is more like, this is like the shout out to the fans who are all like 60% say, what the hell are the writers doing? Like you can clearly see the writers have a plan. This was very masterfully set up a few episodes ago, even though we were kind of confused about why did you put it in the Glenn episode specifically. But now that it actually paid off, it's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. I mean, we saw it coming. So yeah, I liked it. And I like that, she's in it now because she's all high and mighty. You can't get me. Although I was really hoping she stayed that way. And I think we talked about that too. I'm kind of bummed that she's now.
Not a single person in Red's circle is that way.
Yeah. But Cooper's still pretty much honorable. But man, the idea that it just doesn't bode well for your faith in federal agents. You know what I mean? When everybody basically has a murder behind them.
Yeah. I mean, like from that perspective, yes, Cooper's still clean because he hasn't murdered anybody, but the people that he's worked with and he's let free and let go and all of that, there's still enough on his conscience that he's just as dirty as everybody else.
Sure. They've all done stuff that is questionable, but it's in the, name of serving the good and all that jive. Not these guys though. No, not at all. And what she did, she knew it was going to lead to something like her surprise. And I like Park. So that's why I'm kind of bummed because I was kind of hoping she'd get more of a self-righteous kind of arc where she would be someone who refused to go with Reddington. So we actually had someone on the show that wasn't in his pocket. I was really, really looking forward to that. And it didn't pan out because Wrestler's no longer that guy. Cooper still is kind of, but I wanted someone else. I just wanted another character who stayed on the path of the righteous.
Yeah, maybe Panabaker is going to fit that role, though, because we've seen Panabaker a lot more this season. Maybe Panabaker is going to make her presence more known in the office in the second half of the season.
Well, that's a nice segue. Although I do want to say, what did you think about the murder? I loved the viciousness of that murder. That was
the choking and the puking blood part.
Yeah, I don't want to say that was fun because that's an awful thing to say, but it was kind of like, that's a cool way that's a cool death. Cool TV death. We haven't gotten a whole lot of, that's probably since that guy with the missing jaw. We haven't had a whole lot of bloodshed.
That's true. It's been a pretty clean season.
Yeah, that was cool. I like that a lot. Panda Baker doesn't necessarily believe Red is actually N13. That seems to come across when she's talking to Cooper, and he's kind of relaying the whole thing. So what do you think? Do you think ultimately he is N13, the person? And we're going to talk about who N13 is in a second with Cooper's little tirade. So, but do you think he's him?
Do I think Red is N13?
Yes. Do you think Red is N13? Because I know we felt like Sikorsky confirmed it, but Panda Baker throws that out there, so that makes me wonder, maybe we're wrong.
Well, that's what we said last week. Rory had the point of view of the concept around, is Sikorsky convinced that Red is N13, but really he's not N13. So really it's Sikorsky's point of view, or the friend from the East, whatever you want to call him. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think with everything we've seen and the fact that the whole Katarina Rostova concept, and Katarina called him N13, and he didn't really deny it. He just kind of looked at that like, crap, son of a gun kind of face. I still say Red's N13.
Yeah, I'm still thinking he is too. I'm actually holding strong that he is.
I mean, that file with the archive on it was directly to his biometrics. So, I mean, that pretty much confirms it there, in my opinion. And then even when Dom was dying and said, like, you stole it and Reddington has it. He's talking about the archive. Well, the archive was N13. N13's the one who stole it. Then that obviously makes it all fit to me.
Yeah, to me too. And part of that is because I am of the mindset that I think they're out of, they hint that he's one person, but he's not that person. I think they're out of that card because they've used that card too many times.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So it's time to acknowledge that, okay,
right.
You know what? He is who you think he is in that respect. You just don't know exactly who that is yet.
He's Reddington. No, he's not. He's Ilya. No, he's not.
Yeah.
He's Katarina. Well, we'll see.
Oh, it's cute that you're still on that. All right. So Cooper won't quit on going after Red. Is he a detriment to the task force at this point? Now hear me out. He almost outed Red was their informant and therefore risked his life and also the entire operation. So should he still be running the show? I mean, could this be a precursor to Cooper getting let go or getting suspended or something along those lines because he won't let it go?
I mean, Panda Baker was pretty upset about it, but at the same time, do you really think they were going to let this guy go? Like, Cooper knew what he's doing. He's like, I'm just going to spill the beans so I can get the information I need, and then I'm going to go put this guy in a hole somewhere he's never going to escape, even if he gives a confession.
Maybe, but he'd end up getting that immunity deal or something, and then he'd be out again, and he would tell whoever he could tell. It's a big risk. It's a big risk. You're putting the entire operation, all of your people, you just put at risk by doing that. Because this guy's connected to the top of the top. I'm just saying, I think it could be a precursor. I don't know. Could be. Well, let's break this down. Okay, so he recaps where we are with the whole N13 and Russian spy thing. And I think it's almost like hey, everybody, pay attention. Here's where we are. Right? Would you agree with that?
I 100% agree with that. And we just happen to have that entire conversation. So we'll play that now, and then we'll break it down after we re-listen to it one more time.
You've been hiding something I've known for a while.
Something big? The real reason Agent Keene went out on her own.
She saw Reddington kill her mother. That's reason enough.
But that's half the story. And to tell it, we have to go back over 30 years to the fall of the Soviet Union. Around that time, a file was stolen from Soviet intelligence, a blackmail file consisting of 13 packets of data, damaging intel on rival governments, secrets held by some of the world's most powerful people and corporations.
Who stole it?
An unidentified Russian operative. 13 packets. So, after the theft, the Russians began calling him N13. The stolen file is the Sikorsky archive.
I'm gonna need a scratch pad.
That's where Neville Townsend comes in. He was one of the powerful people named in the archive. As a result, his family was killed, and he put a bounty on the head of the woman he thought was responsible.
Katarina Rostova.
Exactly. Agent Keene's mother ran for 30 years, all the while insisting that she was framed set up by the real N13.
Not Reddington. Please don't say Reddington.
That's what Agent Keene believes. Her mother found some kind of proof, but Reddington killed her before she could release it. Keene believes he's a Russian spy, a plant sent to infiltrate our intelligence agencies and to execute some kind of endgame.
And you believe her?
I didn't at first, but now I think she may be right. The man we arrested today, his name is Andrew Patterson, but the Russians call him Rakitin. He's feeding intel to N13. Clearly, he works with or for Reddington.
Let me get this straight. You're saying that our confidential informant, the man we officially gave blanket immunity, is actually a Russian sleeper agent?
Quite possibly.
So this is the interesting part about this conversation, Aaron. He puts together a really good timeline and a really great explanation of everything that happened. But again, this is his perspective and his point of view. So how much of this do we take as fact, as fans trying to put the puzzle together? And how much of this is just like, well, this is Cooper's interpretation of it all. And is it just another Ilya Koslov misdirection kind of concept?
I think everything he said is true. It's a matter of, is Red who he says he is at the time? Because, because of everything and it's happened in the show before, you have to question everything, right? That's how it goes.
There was a big leap, right? When he was like, well, there were 13 files stolen, so therefore they just made up the name N13.
No, I think that was decided. Plus, he had the drive and he decoded it, so he would know that.
But he wouldn't know that the N13. I mean, unless it was on the file.
He has the archive. He has the archive.
If it was in the files, in the archive itself, explaining the whole situation, then yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I would assume it was in there. So that's why I was going with
But I thought he only was able to unlock one of the 13 files.
But he knows there's 13 files.
Right.
See, so he knows that. He just knows that part. So I think everything he said is factual and we should take it as canon. It's just a matter of who he thinks the players are. It doesn't necessarily mean that's who the players are.
That's true. Yeah. And the question becomes, like we were talking last week when the friend from the East said, these are his instructions. Like, who is that person that's above Red or above the friend from the East? Is there someone else pulling the strings?
Yeah, who's that?
Is it
the full weight of the Soviet? Is it Putin? It's gotta be Putin. Gotta be Putin.
It's his competitor in prison. That way, he's got to get everybody else to do the work for him because he's locked up.
But I did like Cooper in this episode. It was fun having Cooper really just come full force.
Yeah, I love the pushing and the interrogation. I want to see that Cooper more often.
Yeah. And I dug Red just being Red. I mean, he showed up straight after he murdered a dude. And he's just like, what? What happened? That's so weird. Some guy died? And of course, threatens Park again before he even gets there. It's just like another, oh, you want to tell him? Oh, wouldn't that be ironic? I mean, it's just like he just doesn't stop threatening people. Boy.
We'll have to say,
all right,
a good job on the camera crew and the director for this episode, because I mean, Aaron and I have, we've been on set back on the 100th episode.
Sure.
And we know that is not an elevator. It's really just a door out to the street, like a loading dock. And so the way they were able to shoot that scene where Park is like on a different floor and make it not look like she was on a different floor. Yeah. I mean, I thought that was really, really great. Really well done. As I was watching the episode, I completely forgot. Oh yeah, that's not an elevator.
Yeah. They always do a really good job with that. You going down, going up, whatever. So Red he feels like he's still warm to the task force, but he takes some really dark turns. And that's kind of my question, because he's almost acting like he cares about these people, right? But he totally has no problem manipulating them for his own self-interest.
Which is the thing that's most complexing about this season so far, because even last week when he was like, I would never betray this country. I would never sell this country's secrets. That's a different, different dialect that he uses that he normally would use instead of our country and your government. And
yeah, it's not my country, right? It's,
it's your country, your government. So the fact that he changed that up last week, and now here he's like, he'd rather protect the task force than protect Rakitin. I'm just kind of like, what's going on here? Is he really an undercover CIA, NSA operative, potentially? This is interesting.
That would be a hell of a cover. Like a hell of a cover. 30 years And you've killed multiple people.
Including people inside of the United States.
Yeah, including top tier people inside the United States, for sure. For sure. Okay, well, he straight up murders Rakitin. Bitch slaps our friend from the East. I guess can we call him Sikorsky? Because I don't think they've ever called him that in the show.
They haven't called him in the show.
Only on IMDb, right? So we can't really
only
take
on the
that as
actor's
canon.
page, which I think the actor then changed later on.
Okay, well, bitch slaps our friend from the East and opines about his endgame. Now that's where we're back, because we've already talked about all the things that Red did this episode, which I did love. That he managed to make it all work, and he murdered this man without even being there, and then shows up. I thought that was a nice touch, because that's how you throw your thumb your nose at people. You're like, oh yeah, I know I did it. What's up? Still here. So, any idea what the end game could possibly be, and how close are we when they were renewed for season 9? Like they keep mentioning end game. How close do you think we actually are?
I mean, it's a really...
what do you think the end game is? I know we talk about the whole who is he to Liz and everything else, but I don't think that's what he means by end game. So what do you think he means by end game?
Maybe the end game is to clear whoever he is, clear his name so that he can go back to being whoever he was previously. Like he's doing what Katarina was doing earlier in the season, where if she gets this information, she can expose that she's not in 13 and that she doesn't have the archive and get her life back. Maybe that's the same thing he's doing at this point. It's a 30-year mission to undo things of the past in order to go back to the way things were 30 years ago. Because he never anticipated the fallout the way it's been, right? Dom dying, Liz being estranged, having to kill Rakitin because he didn't really want to kill Rakitin at the beginning of the episode. So there's just a lot of unforeseen circumstances, and he's just like, maybe it's time to end this finally.
All right. That's interesting. I mean, it could be. I mean, maybe it's his end game is to get to the top of this guy. Get to Sikorsky's boss. Maybe that's the end game. Maybe it's to bring down even bigger cabal than the previous cabal.
Oh, could be.
I wonder what his final end game is going to be. But they keep mentioning it. They keep mentioning or hinting at it. So I think there's going to be some revelation this season about what his end game is.
And the fact that they mentioned it in this episode at the midway point, right? We're at episode 12. And this is where you go with 10 more episodes this season. It's like, please, dear God, just don't stretch it out too much. Like, stay on point, stay on task. No fillers. Like you've now opened up Pandora's box. Now everything going forward needs to tie back into this. What is the end?
This was a great episode. I really enjoyed this one. So you also get Red looking tired and weary after slapping the crap out of that dude.
Yeah, which it seemed like the friend from the East was a little bit like picking up on the fact that he wasn't well.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
And also poor Red is just like, I'm so tired. I shouldn't have to smack you like that, but you made me have to smack you like that, dumbass.
Now that you're in your place and Rakitin is dead, next week we're going to maybe pay a visit to a good friend somewhere in the middle of the country.
All right. Well, we want to take a quick second and say thank you to those of you that are supporting the show by going to Patreon. It's Patreon, patreon.com/theblacklistgsm. Special big thanks to our honorary blacklister, Patricia. Also, special shout out to our task force members, Judy and Sharon, Rory, Karen, Bobby, Jens, and now Mary, all official task force members. All of these people receive sweet ass gifts from us, and you can get a cool gift as well for donating at the $20 level or higher. You want a cool t-shirt or a coffee mug? Come on, you do. You don't have to stay at that level forever, just a few months to get the cool gifts.
And remember, if you are a $5 patron, you get the episode before anyone else. That includes any interviews or special episodes, as well as the main podcast right after the show ends. So just head on over to Patreon. That's patreon.com/theblacklistgsm. Throw your $5 in the fedora and get the podcast before anyone else. Stay tuned. We got much more show coming up right after this.
You obviously love podcasts, but are you also a fan of movies and television? Do you want to listen to a show that reviews entertainment honestly and casts pretentiousness to the wind? That debates both film and TV topics in a fun, good-spirited way, while still getting to the heart of why we all love them so much? Then don't miss the award-winning weekly podcast, The Hollywood Outsider, now available on your favorite podcast app or at thehollywoodoutsider.com.
Hey, Dembe loyals, this is Hisham Taufik. You are listening to Blacklist Exposed on Golden Spiral Media.
All right, it is time for Special Agent Intel. And I do want to tell you, I'm going to do my own plug because I was gone for a couple weeks. I watched like forever many movies and I had to review them all from a podcast at thehollywoodoutsiders.com. If you want to see or hear about all the great movies at South by Southwest, cheap plug. There you go. Over on the Tube, in response to the fan ratings conversation, Breezy Carver, what a great name, said, I think this is the best season yet. Wish Liz would stay gone. Love Spader and interactions with others in cast. I don't agree with that at all. I miss Liz, so teach their own.
I do like the Red interactions with the other cast, though.
I think we got those anyway. I kind of miss having a focal point.
Yeah, but when Liz is there, Liz is the one always getting the cases. So like having Park show up one week and then having Wrestler show up one week and Ram one week.
Very sporadic.
It's kind of fun.
And I'll be honest with you, you can say whatever you want. I prefer Liz to Wrestler and Park. So, or Ram, it's definitely more of a tie because I think Ram is always fun to watch. But if they're leading the case, I think Liz has more personality. So, sorry, that's where I land. Alice Corsavi, I love this season. I no longer care what Liz's story is or want her to come back. I really enjoyed the Red story, and I'm much more curious about what the 30-year project has been and what Red's overall objective is. And then Martina Scopes, I do want Liz back, and I miss the powerful Red. He has turned into this ill, worried fella who seems to be consistently on the back foot.
So
there's a little mix there.
Yeah. Do we care about Red and Liz in their relationship, since that was the crux of the show from when it started? And do we only care about what is this endgame and 30-year project? How do you feel about that?
Honest Engine?
Sure.
I'm over the relationship. At this point, I'm just kind of burned out on the who is he thing. I want that resolved, like ASAP. And I think most fans feel like that. We've talked about that a lot. It's overdue. It's been overdue. It's been a fun mystery for sure, and I'm not trying to crap on the show in any way, shape, or form. I'm just saying sometimes things go on too long, and that is officially too long. So the relationship part, I'm kind of over. I really don't even think about it when I watch the show anymore, unless we bring it up in the conversation, because I just don't think about it.
Yeah, and you could basically give that answer to the relationship, and then Liz can be like, "Thank you. Now let me help you finish your end game." And then they
there you go.
Work together to finish the end game, which I think what people would love, because that's when they loved the show the most, was the first part of season 3.
I'm on board with that for sure. And I am really curious about the 30-year project and the end game. That part has been kind of bandied about this season. I do want to know more about that.
Yeah, it injected some new life into the show, if you will.
Yep.
Well, Ashley Connors said, I just can't get behind the Red Arena theory. My theory is that this is still the true OG Raymond Reddington, but double agent. Katarina is dead back in Cape May, and this Katarina was an agent trying to get information for something, maybe the archive and such. Liz turns thinking she must bring down Reddington, but will learn the truth somewhere down the road, maybe when it's even too late.
To that I will say, DNA testing, the showrunner, everybody in the world has confirmed that Raymond Reddington, OG, is dead. So I'm going to say I don't agree with that theory, but you're entitled to your theory. That's my personal opinion. I just don't agree with your theory. And as much as I think the Red Arena has some plausibility, I don't believe it or support it. Never have.
Okay, so let me put the Troy spin on this. What if there was original Raymond Reddington, and then they used somebody like the Alchemist to change the DNA on the surface for a replacement Raymond Reddington, who that replacement Raymond Reddington was the one that was technically killed in the fire and shot by Liz.
Wouldn't it be the original one that was probably shot and killed then, if that were the case?
Well, no, I think it was somebody that was like a plant.
I think Liz's dad is dead. That's what I think.
Right.
I think they've said that. They've confirmed. They've said that outside of the show. They've said it in the show. I don't have. He said it. He said it. Literally, he said it. I just don't believe that's the case.
But I mean, if you want to try to test this theory out, in the case of the show, there is a case that you could make to say that Liz's father, Raymond Reddington, was part of an undercover agent assignment in Moscow. And therefore, in order to keep that protected over all of these years, they had to basically make a spoof Raymond Reddington to act as Raymond Reddington. And therefore, he was the one that was shot by Liz. And that's why his DNA on the bones shows Raymond Reddington, because they basically had to make him be Raymond Reddington in order to protect the original Raymond Reddington that's still alive.
I don't think you can make that case. I think you could make the case the other way, that they had some guy that, or some other agent that they, changed the DNA or whatever, made a match, whatever else. But Liz's father, the original Raymond Reddington, would be dead. I don't think you can make the case that he's not dead, because everyone involved in the show, outside the show and around the show, has confirmed that's the case. So to me, it's not even, you can't make the case, because even the people involved in the show, even the people on the show, even Raymond Reddington himself has said, I am not your father.
And I agree with you. I'm just playing devil's advocate for purposes of content.
Hey, I'm big on have all the theories you want, but you can't just skip the facts. And the facts are everybody involved in, and even Raymond Reddington themselves has said, I am not your father.
And here's why I would agree with Aaron, but not agree with Aaron at the same time, because I don't believe one iota of what John and John say, because they have to say whatever the narrative is at the time that the information is out to the audience. In the show, what I would say is this, that original Raymond Reddington, Elizabeth's father, has to be dead, because it would impact the story and the motivation of the characters in such a way that if that wasn't true, then the audience would not like the show, agree with the show, follow the show. They'd be frustrated by the show. So I think I think the story is the thing that answers that the OG original Raymond Reddington is dead, because of character motivation, not necessarily because John and John said it.
Fair enough. But when everybody says it and it's in the show and it's out of the show, at some point you just got to accept it.
Exactly.
And I just feel like sometimes we're so looking for the theory that no one else is using so we can say, I called it, that we just kind of gloss over the fact that it's already been disproved several times. So
Red is actually a gerbil.
That one to me, like I've had people come to me and say, well, I think he is the only, and I'm not going to, hey, you believe what you want to believe. But if somebody asks me, like, you know what I'm saying? And I'll just be like, nope, sure don't. I think the facts have said he's not. So I won't even debate it with people, because I'm like, hey, go debate with the other friends, have at it. But I'm not going to debate it, because as far as I'm concerned, it's a fact that he's not.
Right.
Call it stubborn, call it whatever you want. But, you got to accept things at some point. Monica Stolfa wrote in and said, Neville Townsend is one scary ass dude. He has people working in the federal law enforcement agencies, the federal marshal who leads Townsend to Captain Kidd, and he might possibly have people in the U.S. government, politicians and judges in his pocket. When Red said that Townsend is dangerous, he's not being flippant about it. Well, just so you know, mostly major corporation heads have those same people in the pockets. Mm-hmm. Remember when Ressler and Liz were questioning the accountant and the Kazian brothers? He told them that all you feds aren't as squeaky clean as you want us to believe. It's as if he has information over them. What if he is working for Townsend? What if Townsend has an army of people in high positions working for him? It might come to where the task force needs to watch their backs on who they can trust, especially if they go after Townsend. That is why Red feels that he needs to go after Townsend alone. But Dembe is right. Yeah, he's always right. Nobody ever listens to him, but he's always right. Red and the task force need to work together on this. I'm hoping Panda Baker is not affected by Townsend, but it would bring an interesting and paranoid feel for the show. Like if she's dirty, somebody is watching you. Mwahaha. I don't know if I can handle another double agent. And I like Panda Baker, so I'd prefer her not to be.
Yeah, I don't think Panda Baker would fit that bill, but there could be somebody else inside of the government still that is that case. I mean, we had corrupt president. We had Anna, what's her name? Anna McMahon in season 6 that was corrupt. We had the director for the CIA was corrupt. And we had a whole bunch of people that just were not above board in the U.S. government. So could there be more Neville Townsend reaches? I think that's very possible. What I so love about the Townsend concept is that you have the friend in the East and then you have Townsend, and it seems like they're two separate factions. They're not connected. I want to see how they become connected and if they go to war, because that would be interesting.
That would be interesting. Absolutely.
All right. And last one, Kim Cavera sent in a question. Hey, guys, I have a showbiz question. So my ears perked up when I heard Sam Christopher's voice introduce herself as the writer for Captain Kidd. Sam also wrote one of my favorite episodes, The Brockton College Killer, and did commentary on that episode for the DVDs, I'm assuming. The Johns have commented on some major episodes as well, including the pilot, Ansel Garrick, and the director. So do you know the process by which the showrunners choose episodes for commentary and by whom?
I've talked to some people involved with that aspect of it before, in interviews and whatnot from our other show. And I can say, I can only speak to what they said. So I don't know if it's the same for the Blacklist, but I can say what they said, which is that it's typically based on availability. Number one, number on the actor or the director or showrunner, whoever's availability, popularity of the episodes. Like, this is where major story beats happen. So let's talk about that. Like, that's why they don't do it on every episode for the Blacklist, because some of it isn't. I know we don't like to use the word filler, but it's just, one-off episodes where there's not a lot of things to talk about. You know what I mean? We've been there. But the majority, I think, is just popularity, polarizing, big story beats. Like, I don't have the DVDs because I do watch on Netflix when after it's done. But I would imagine Ian Garvey's got a commentary. I would imagine, just because it's a big episode. I don't know that for a fact, but I would imagine. And a lot of that is what determines it. But also just timing, just availability. I mean, it's hard to get them in a media room where they can actually record the commentary. Some of them have to do it remotely, and that works too. And some actors just don't want to do it. So it's really who's available. Can they add something of value to the commentary track? Are people going to listen to it? That's a big factor, because some of these people just don't listen to the commentaries. So it really just depends.
We know that because some people didn't even listen to the watch parties last year that we put out, which were literally commentaries as we watched those shows.
Sure.
And it also depends too, I guess, if it's going to be a director commentary on the episode as the episode plays, like a separate audio track, or if it's truly like a spotlight special on a particular episode that might be 2 to 5 minutes long, where they have to produce basically new footage in order to make that happen. So it just depends on what type of extra it's going to be on that box set.
Yeah, and I mean, some box sets, they just drop the episode. I think commentaries used to be more popular than they are now, because there's so much content out there these days, and they don't have the time to do 22 commentary tracks. They just don't.
Well, I think it also depends too on if you're getting it now with the whole streaming services and digital, like the concept of extras on DVDs. They're not the same on the DVD versus what you might buy in iTunes or Movies Anywhere or Vudu or some other service. So there's certain commentaries.
A lot of times they are, though.
But most of it's like saved for the DVDs, though. You don't get the whole thing that you get on the DVD. I know
Blu-rays. Nobody buys DVDs.
Whatever.
Blu-rays. Come on.
A disc. It's a coaster. It holds up my water bottle. All right.
Yeah, I got a lot of them. I know how you feel. But I mean, I've got a lot of stuff where I have listened. I love commentary tracks usually, but when you're talking 22 episodes, man, that's a lot of time to fill.
Yeah. I mean,
we do it for every episode, so I can tell you it's near impossible. I can't imagine how they could ever find time to do that for the 22 episodes while they're already making the show and they're already like barely squeaking out the episodes week to week because they're down to the wire in time. I can't imagine that. I really couldn't.
Yeah. I mean, they have to pay those guys. They get it from us for free.
There you go.
All right.
But we will gladly release ours to use as commentary tracks if they would like.
100%. 100%. All right. Let's continue on. As for the list question, Reddington put it to you, our friend from the East, that he doesn't work for him. I agree with you, Troy, that there probably is a T-Rex in Moscow at the top of the food chain. That even
is that why you included this? Is that why you included it? Because somebody said I agree with you, Troy? Like that's how they started off, and you're just like, oh, I got to include this.
No, because they emailed it in.
All right, just checking. Feels like I was on the right track, but whatever.
But you weren't here last week, so they couldn't agree with you. So it wasn't even that they could agree with you because you weren't here.
They probably wouldn't anyway.
It's true. I like the idea that there's a bigger bad over there than Reddington out there. All of this is happening at his instruction. Cooper having the task force go after Andrew Rakitin. I think the friend from the East is acting alone and using the hit on Cooper to be strong on Red. It's a battle of wills. He'll try to 86 Cooper first and then threaten to go after Elizabeth. The rest of the task force is irrelevant. Cooper signed Red's immunity agreement. No Cooper, no immunity agreement. Therefore, Pennebaker drops the task force. Adios, FBI resources. 30-year plan in the toilet.
Well, no Cooper wouldn't affect the immunity agreement. Once he signed it. They can negate it if he violates the terms of it, though.
For sure.
Which killing someone, which is funny because if they find out he's a Russian spy, that might negate it. I'm like, I don't understand why. Is that one of the terms? Did they actually put it in writing? If you're a Russian spy, that will negate the terms of your deal, because they're still getting the same information that's putting people away.
Right. And I think most of her stuff here she got right, except for the, Cooper part, going after Elizabeth, because obviously that's not going to happen now that he got, bitch slapped across the face.
And Sikorsky's not acting alone. There's somebody above him or behind him. So
for sure,
there's somebody there.
Maybe next to him. Maybe in front of him. I don't know. Rakitin said, hey, Red gave you one job there, Andrew. Reassure our friend from the East, and you muffed it. There's worse than a broken jaw and cheeseburger puree on order for you. And we clearly saw what happened when you crossed Red this week.
Ouch. 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 Ouch.
Very good toxin.
Yeah. Well, that was a good episode. I mean, are you really excited now going into the rest?
I'm interested to see how things are going to play out, since I believe next week is the Anne episode from the press release. So if this is going to be like Anne is like a pause and then we go like full tilt into 814 and onward, or if Anne is like a bridge to something bigger. So I'm very interested to see how next week's episode plays out.
And we talked about this before, but I very much do not want Anne to be anyone nefarious. You? I
mean, it'd be interesting if she's connected, and it's also interesting if she's not. I think it's a question of from what does Red's character get or gain or drive in the overarching scheme of things by being around Anne? Does it help him see more clearly? Does it help him plan differently? Does it change his mood? Does it, like it's that kind of stuff that's more interesting than is Anne related to somebody, or is Anne a pawn of somebody? Or I think that's the intriguing part of Anne. Like, it makes Red think differently, and how differently and why, and what does he do with that new thought process? That's why it's intriguing.
Okay. Makes sense to me. Well, that's going to conclude this discussion. So now is the time to recommend the Blacklist to your friend, your enemy, your neighbor. And when you do, please slap them across the face and make them listen to the Blacklist Exposed podcast. All the case profiles can be found on the blacklistexposed.com and everywhere great podcasts can be found. Like, seriously, hit them with a full open hand.
Open hand. And get them on the backside, too, just for fun. For more great Aaron and Troy hijinks, follow your favorite social media outlet. I'm at Troy Heinrichs. He's at Aaron Sparks. And together we are at the Blacklist GSM. Talk about the show, the podcast, or what you hope to see the rest of this season.
Just do the full Moira smack. Have you ever seen Schitt's Creek? Have you seen that show?
Totally.
Oh, yeah. Just do that. That would be fantastic. Big thanks for listening. Don't forget to answer our profiling question. Is Red really 13? 13.
Is that how you say N in English?
13. Yep. I'm trying to make a word out of it. 13. Nope, that doesn't work. So, yeah, N13. Is he really red?
Kind of means a dash. So it'd be like Nadash 13.
Somebody's listening going, you idiots, shut up. I just want this thing to end. You could have hit stop a while ago. It's on you. Just like it's on Park. Take care, everybody.
We'll see you in 2 weeks. Until next time, I'm Agent Troy Heinrichs. That's at Troy Heinrichs on Twitter. And if you want to learn more about me, just visit, about.me/Troy Heinrichs.
And I'm Agent Aaron Peterson. You can hear me talking about movies and TV on the Hollywood Outsider podcast, as well as Remake This Movie Right. We are available at thehollywoodoutsider.com or on Twitter at 5popcorn. Be sure to subscribe, download the app, submit your feedback, but most importantly, keep yourself off of the Blacklist.
The Blacklist Exposed is a Golden Spiral Media production. Find more of our great podcasts at goldenspiralmedia.com/podcasts.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Oh, actually, no, we won't see him next week.
Never mind. Dum-dum.